Hey everybody, it's the November video for instructor information, which is also a month of giving, thanks, and no shave November. That's right, wearing a stash right now. Some of the things I'll be talking about in this month's video include items related to when to work, preparation tasks, so being prepared, best prepared for class, so that includes logistics, making sure you're completing your pre-call to full service customers, class conclusion tasks, so completing everything with the closeout call. That also means writing down some information I will go through, full service paperwork, and appropriately recording your time and e-time for that extra time you get now, that 2 hours we've went over a few times. I will also share an important update related to our territory email and also some information about the Babysitters Instructor training course. Just remember that if you're already a certified instructor in those components, you will not receive a message from me. So I'll go through that real quick. And also, I will have a special guest in the December video, so I will be teasing you with who that is and sharing in the video close to the end who will be joining me in the video for December, and also round everything out with shout outs. So one of the first things we need to make sure we're remembering is that everybody needs to go in to their when to work and make sure that they reveal that everybody is available to not only see their email but their phone numbers. We want to make sure that everybody's able to look at each other's contact information so you can effectively plan ahead when it comes to collaborating and co-teaching. So make sure you go back into when to work and make sure it's not just showing that only managers can see your information. That's a big thing. It's actually something that's come down from leadership. So we want to make sure that everybody's able to see each other's information. No one's going to abuse it. This is all work related. So don't fear anything of, your information floating somewhere where it shouldn't be, because these are your coworkers and we trust that you trust each other to be able to call each other if you need to just make a plan on the class coming up, talk about who made that pre-call to the full service customer, or just kind of chat about how class went, or how things are going. So please, please, please go in and make sure that it is available for everybody to see in the information area of your profile and when to work. Something else I want to make sure you just all know is every time someone goes in through when to work, meaning you, the instructor, and says, yes, I want to teach on November 6th, send in the request. I want to teach on the 15th, send in the request, and I want to teach on the 27th, and you send it in. Every time one of those requests is sent to be assigned to a class, a notification is sent to the managers. So if you go in and request like a whole bundle of classes and you're not even sure if you want the class yet, you're not 100% sure you want to be assigned, if you go back in and toss it on the tray board, or even cancel yourself from the request, another notification is sent to all the managers. So it kind of bogs down our inboxes with a lot of stuff. So make sure when you're looking at the calendar, you are planning for wanting to really truly be the facilitator of that training. So don't go in and request everything. Only if you really want to do all those classes, because then if you decide, those 14 classes you thought you wanted because they all land on the same day, and you want to teach that day, after you go in to cancel and everything, it's going to send out a notification. So Gail, Nancy, and I will be notified that you did request them all, but it's kind of like a just kidding. I'm going to take myself off. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to plan out your schedule, because we want you teaching. We're excited to see the requests, but a lot of times if you're going in and then 2 hours later you're going in to cancel out of making that request, we are hit with double the emails instead of just the request, and then deciding who's going to be assigned. So just keep all those things in mind. Thank you. Okay, so one other thing that I have to remind you all to be doing is closely monitoring your logistics items. So if you have items like lungs or AED pads, surveys, to return in envelopes, the envelopes themselves, if you need lungs, we need to know what kind to send you. So make sure you're being specific with the kind of mannequins that need lungs and how many, because the quantity is important to us. And we also need to know about paperwork items. So if you end up, needing test copies, test answer keys, we can send those to you, but you have to tell us specifically for what you need the paperwork items replenished. So if it is surveys or whatever, tell us exactly which surveys it is. Otherwise, we have no idea 100% what to send you, and then we're calling you or sending you a message to fill us in because we can't just guess, and we don't want to send you the wrong thing. So closely monitor everything and just make sure you're sending those requests to Indiana PHSS at redcross.org. Another class preparation task you are required to complete is that call to the full service customer contact that has to happen no less than 3 days out from the class you're scheduled to teach. So if you've been assigned, you are responsible for making sure that you are calling that customer to confirm training details, including the entrance to the building. Are there any security checkpoints you need to be aware of? So that way you know if you need to have any extra identification with you when you're checking in, where the classroom space is the classroom space going to be large enough, the participants that are expected, is the number changed, anything like that. So you really need to make sure you are completing that task within 3 days before the class is supposed to happen. So don't call them the day before or 2 days out. It has to happen no less than 3 days out. Because on our side, what always happens is if they haven't heard from the scheduled instructor, no pre-call literally will kind of set a tailspin of events. So without making the pre-call as an instructor, you're creating a worried, confused, and unsatisfied customer. I do know that our sales team, both locally and remotely, is sharing that they should expect to hear from our instructor a certain amount of days out. So when that call isn't received by the customer, they are worried and they reach back to the folks that they've been working with because they want to make sure that the class is still a go. They want to make sure that they know who is coming and the exact time to expect them. So make sure you are making that call, or we'll have to talk about it because we do hear about these things. So make sure you continue to do the pre-call 3 days out as noted in Instructor Handbook. And if you have any questions or have been faced with any challenges, just let me know. I do know that there are times where we might be leaving messages with that customer contact and we are waiting to hear back from them. I understand that they're a business as well, but you have to make sure you're making that call to show that you made that task a priority on your list of preparing for class. So another reminder I have for the closeout process and conclusion to your classes is it's a task. It's a huge task. You have the information on it now. You have everything in writing, but I'm going to remind you one more time that after the class, after a community class, you have to call within 2 hours to the training support center to close out the class. In the event that you have this crazy late community class, which I know the schedule, this is not true, but you can't call right after the class. You have to call the next day. So you have to be following the script, but at the bottom of the script, it has for you to do these other things, which includes recording the actual TSC agent's name, date and time of call, case number for a call, because otherwise Nancy doesn't know if you've done the task. So we have to have that information, and if you don't do it, we are led to believe that you either totally forgot or something weird has happened. And even if you totally forget or something weird has happened, let us know. Because on the other side of this, the flip side is they're actively making sure that the offerings for these classes are being closed. So if you didn't close your Saturday full or your Saturday community course until Monday, we already knew about it Sunday because we got an email that said, why didn't that course get closed? So to go back and not be questioning why it's closed, and for us to say, well, so and so gave us all this information, they talked to so and so at the TSC, we did our side, maybe something on their side didn't happen. We don't know that, but we really do need all that information to know that you've completed the task. If you have any questions, just let Nancy, Gail, or I know, mostly me or Nancy, because we usually get pulled into the riffraff that can happen after. Another concluding class task that you should be completing is really making sure that you're getting every full service participant's email address. We do need their direct email address because that is where the digital certificate information is sent, so that they have access at any time, anywhere, 24/7, access to their specific certificate with their name, the whole information, everything on there specific to them. So make sure that you are getting those individual email addresses to put on your course record and return with all other items related to that class. There still seems to be a little bit of confusion when it comes to e-time and entering travel time and what that means and where to put that extra 2 hours that you get to receive with every training course. So if you didn't know this, I'm going to let you in on a secret, but until more recent years, math was not my favorite subject growing up. Basic math, I got it, but some of the complex stuff, it was never a smart idea to ask me the questions. But I have some simple math for you, and I'm going to break it down as simple as I can. But if you continue to be confused or are wondering why things are getting pushed back to you when it comes to your time card, Gail and I can answer those questions, okay? So just to break it down, truly break it down here, okay? So you've been assigned to teach a class that lasts 4 hours. You're going to add your 2 hours that you get now. Instead of that one, you get two for a total of 6 hours worked total. So you don't add travel time, you don't add in that 2 hours to a travel time, which is another row in e-time. The only time, as completely described on page 16 of the instructor handbook, but the only time you can claim travel time is if you have an assignment in point A in this half of the day and a second assignment in another half of the day. Then from point A to point B, that time it takes to get from one location to the other, that's where you get to log that time. But otherwise, you don't log time for traveling. That 2 hours is an addition to the duration of the training that you have been assigned to. And if you have questions, just let us know. One of the updates I have is that the territory email address has been updated from Northern Indiana, so Northern INPHSS at redcross.org is no more. It's still there for the time being, and it is being forwarded to Indiana PHSS at redcross.org. But begin to send everything, including your logistics requests for equipment replenishment and paperwork items, to this address. Like I said, the Northern INPHSS is being forwarded for the time being, truly momentarily, because we don't know how long that will stay live. So really start to send all of those other items to Indiana PHSS at redcross.org. Another update I have is that I am in the final stages of confirming training places for the Babysitters Instructor training course. So for those of you that have not become certified in that class, keep an eye on your redcross.org email, because I will be sending you detailed information to the date and time you will be assigned to take a class for this certification. I will be having the class in South Bend, so for our northern instructors, you'll be going to a South Bend class possibly. For most of central Indiana, you'll be coming to Indianapolis, and down south, you guys will be meeting in Evansville. But like I said, right now I am in the middle of securing actual classroom space for us, and you will be receiving the full packet of information on when you're scheduled to go and everything. I am paying attention to when to work, so if you don't hear from me, it may be that I will be setting up something special with some of you one-on-one due to your schedule, which is completely fine. But really be checking your redcross.org email. And for some of you that haven't seen me in a very long time, And maybe you should by now know because of recent dates on the calendar. But in case I need you, you're going to get certified in this class because guess what? I might need a babysitter here. Okay? So, if you didn't know, he will be here mid-December. I'm not, stuck to that date because I know that they have a mind of their own and they decide when they want to arrive. But he will be here mid-December, so know that this video and the December video will be my last two for this year until I return after I am done bonding with my baby. Yep, that's right. In December, I will have a special guest, which is the Indiana Service Delivery Manager. So he oversees all of us in that degree. So he's our manager for the state. His name is Scott Girding, and he will be on the video to share some information about PHSS and what's coming in the next fiscal year, so FY14. So make sure you tune in. He'll have a lot of great information and updates and everything. And feel free in the meantime, if you have any questions for him, possibly, feel free to send me those directly through When to Work. And I will see if he's up for the challenge of answering any questions because he'll have a lot of great things to share. So make sure you are watching in December and he will be here joining me. And for the last part of this month's video, got to give some shout outs to the people that did really awesome in October. We got feedback in these surveys and, just general customer feedback. So the three folks that we got a lot of good words and praises for were Linda, Brooke, and Kurt. Kurt, who's here right now. Good job, dude. All right, well, thanks to all instructors for everything you're doing out there. Continue to be sending in your surveys within the 5-day turnaround time so I can, give a shout out to you on the next video. Again, thanks. If you have any questions, let me know, and I encourage you to send me any topics or questions you might have that you would like to see on the next video. Thanks.